Why do you believe you're right about trans people given the American Psychological Association, American Medical Association, American Psychoanalytic Association? I can go on for about 5 more associations that are very prominent and govern the existing like health government or health industries within like the major Western countries. And all of these associations have multiple thousands of doctors, sociologists, psychologists, and with PhDs in their respective fields backing the idea that sex and gender are different, effectively gaining the medical consensus for sex and gender being 2 different concepts, yet you have a different opinion.
Okay, so sex and gender are 2 different concepts, but gender is tied to biology. So one of the big problems that you see in sort of the argument in favor of trans rights is this notion that gender and sex are completely separable. They're not completely separable. If they are completely separable, then this means that identifying people by their subjective gender really has no relevance as to whether they are a male or a female. Male and female are biological terms. So using terminology like male and female to describe a self-perception of maleness or femaleness is sort of a bizarre way of arguing whether a thing is a man or a woman. So here's my question. It's an argument that my friend Matt Walsh likes to make. What is a woman? Define what a woman is without reference to the word woman, please.
So this is actually a logical fallacy called a red herring. You're asking me a question in order to actually challenge my question without actually
No, it isn't. I'm saying that
my...
it really is not. I'm saying that biology, I'm agreeing with you that the notion of gender, which is effeminateness or masculinity, can be different from biology in the sense that biology is just pure male or pure female. But to suggest that there is such a thing as an effeminate male is not to suggest that an effeminate male is now a woman. Transgenderism makes the argument that if you believe that you are a woman, you are therefore a woman. Or if you believe that you are a man, you are therefore a man. I disagree with this. There are objective measures as to whether you're a man or a woman. There are objective measures as to whether you're male or female. There's certainly a spectrum with regard to effeminateness versus masculinity. That's certainly true, but that does not change the underlying sexual dichotomy that is the basis for all human reproduction. Yeah, you can answer.
Right. So this dichotomy is a false dichotomy that isn't supported by any of the medical associations that I just named off.
Then let me explain.
None of the medical associations that I just named off would actually support the idea that gender is biological. This is something that's completely untrue within every single medical consensus.
Well, then I will just say that anyone who suggests that gender has no reference whatsoever to biology, it's not connected in any way to biology, is just full of shit. Because if the and the reason
Shapiro contends that past injustices shouldn't serve as excuses for current actions or shortcomings.
Make 22 an hour.
That sounds like a made-up word. What does that mean?
It's like people who draw blood. You know when you go get your blood test in the doctor?
Oh, yeah.
It's the person who puts the needle and draws the blood.
Okay.
Wait, I'm just confused. Wait.
Help me out. Just help me out here. I'm getting to the bottom of this. I'm almost done, right, with my inquiry. So you're the one working right now, you're the one supporting your daughter right now, not your parents, correct?
My parents are helping me support my daughter right now financially.
Okay, so they send you X amount of money per month or something like this?
Yes and no.
What does that mean?
So basically, my mom takes care of my daughter while I go to school, and my parents pay for her, health care, health insurance, stuff like that, so I can focus on finishing college.
That's nice.
Okay, so right now, your daughter's standard of living is based around a $22 an hour single mother working. Is that correct?
No.
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 Your daughter lives with you, or you both live with your parents?
We both live with my parents.
I see. Okay, so you live with your parents, and you're working, and you make 20. Okay, now I understand. Okay, this story, right, has more holes in it than a Swiss cheese block. I'm just trying to put it together here so I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple questions here. You said a trust exists, which is valued at between 6 and 7 figures.
Believe. I've never seen it, but that's where I've seen.
And do you only get access to it after 25 or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question. If you...
At first, she said she'd bring ambition and hustle to the table. Now, She lives with her parents and only works weekends.
Need to question or
so this is what happens whenever you ask a transgender activist to explain even the basic premise of the movement, is they'll immediately say, well, who cares? Why are you so obsessed with this? I'm not obsessed with this. I'm not the one who started sending men into the women's bathroom and taking away their trophies and castrating kids. I'm perfectly happy with the way things have worked for thousands of years. It is the transgender activists who are trying to upend everything. And so I think it is at least my right to ask the question, okay, what is the premise of your movement? But they always deflect from that. They always withdraw from the debate. They always try to change the subject because there is no answer. So you ask me, well, what's the purpose of, why do you even care? What's the purpose of knowing someone's biological sex? Well, for starters, because we have civil rights specifically for women in the United States. We have special bathrooms for women. We have special sports leagues for women. We have all sorts of special places and rights and privileges and that are for women that are not for men. So if now some men, people who at the very least appear to be men, are claiming a right to go into those women's bathrooms, then we either have to abolish all of the special rights and privileges that have existed for women for all of human history and are enshrined in our law, or they need to explain to me how those men are actually women. And they can't do the latter, and I'm not willing to do the former, and I don't think women across this country are willing to do the former.
Her entire argument was, ancient cultures did this, so we should too. What a terrible mindset.
I'm okay with abortion because women have the right to choose whether or not they want to have a baby.
Does it end the life of a human being?
It ends the life of cells. It does not end the life of a Yeah, okay, so you're a clump of cells that has been developed over time, but once you leave the vagina, then you're a conscious human.
So why is abortion to you wrong at 9 months? Why are you personally against abortion at 9 months?
The fetus is about to come out of the vagina and it's going to become an actual human. It's like almost fully formed. Almost.
When I had the ultrasound of my child, I wanted to get pictures of what she looked like at 25 weeks. She was fully formed. There's not a magical thing in the birth canal. You're like, oh, now as a human being. Your humanity can't depend on your location.
A pregnant woman is murdered, and the fetus dies too. By law, the murderer is charged with double homicide. Then, try to explain to me how abortion is not murder.
Head is turning. So basically, the singing was there until I went to college, and everyone started talking middle school. Oh, what do you want to do in college?
Plastic surgeon?
No, whatever. So basically,
music videos while you're giving surgery.
No. So basically, when I got to middle school, they're like, okay, we got to think about college. Like, you have to be realistic. What do you want to do? Really good at science. I decided that I wanted to go into medical fields, and then it went from basically being a doctor and going into all these like medical classes to get ready to go to med school, and then I decided to go into nursing, and then now I'm deciding to go back. But because music, it's really hard to get popular.
Can you help me out with something here, because I'm so confused.
Wait. Are we arriving at an answer, or?
I literally told you though, so you can understand why I went into like plastic surgery and stuff. Because
that's what I want to ask about, because I don't understand. You don't. If I got this right, okay, my notes here. You don't actually ever have to work again. Is that correct?
No, I still have to work.
Why?
I still have to work.
Is it a part of the agreement in your trust?
I think it's a part of the agreement. I don't know what is the agreement in my trust. All I know is that I have to go and I have to work and make money and start my own business. Or if not, I had to go into the family business. Is that your rules,
or because like your parents set that up for you to gain money from the trust rules?
No.
They like the people who own the trust set rules and stipulations.
I don't know what the trust rules or stuff, but when we went, my dad's like, either you're gonna go to college, you're gonna study something, or you're gonna go into the family business. That's it. If I don't.
Okay, well then how do you live right now?
How do I work? I'm a phlebotomist, so I work on the weekends because I have my daughter and I also have school.
Okay, so right now you're taking care of your daughter and working, and that is.
She's your liar. She has yet to give a straight answer in any of the clips.
First girl, serious advice: you need to stop making decisions and choices. Find a man in your family who is sensible and who really cares about you, and just take their advice seriously. Also, abandon feminism. It's truly poison. Okay, you guys are all just like really misogynistic.
What is misogynistic about his statement? I'm just asking how you define misogyny.
Can I go?
Are you okay? Like, do you want to go as in leave? If you want to leave, you can leave. I was hoping we could continue having a conversation, but
I think that was the first time in her life she was faced with like the truth of and the consequences of her actions. And
I think she was just like gathering like everything she said on here, and it just hit her kind of.
When the Taliban can use.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up.
Of stoning gay people, I agree they should be removed, and that is fundamentally wrong. No,
Except the problem is they're smart enough to not do that.
I'm an American and I have to vote between this person and this person. I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you can say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different of me, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
I don't think Bill Maher saw that one coming.
What I think we disagree a lot on is that you think family and faith are a big fix to the problems we have. I mean, I don't have a family, and I definitely don't have faith. So I get it, definitely not part of the solution.
Bill Maher's greatest flaw is that he really believes he is the smartest person in the room.
Making to support your extremist beliefs to justify
not extremist.
It's
is that basic human right that you're trying to take away from me.
Doesn't have value. The argument you're trying to and failing to make, in the argument that you
don't get to sit here and tell me what my argument is. If you want to answer my question, then answer my question.
Ma'am, you said you'd be quiet.
Answer
the
question.
Argument you're failing to make, and what argument you should be making, is that you believe that the human inside of the womb has less value than a woman, and that certain people get to decide.
Yes, it does, because it's her body, her choice.
Exactly.
Her body, exactly. Her body, her choice.
Yeah, that is your argument. It is not that it's not a human being or that's living, because that's flat out denying biology. We know it's living, and we know it's a human being.
What else would
What
it
you're
be?
arguing is that that child doesn't have the same right to life as his or her mother, because you have decided, and what you said during your comments was that if I got pregnant and chose not to have an abortion, I can do that, but you can choose to have abortion, because the mother gets to decide the value of that person.
The mother, it's the mother's child. That's exactly what
you're
I'm
not
saying.
letting me answer your question. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened in pre-Civil War America. You could choose to assign value to Black Americans depending on what you felt like. You could say, I am against slavery because I know these people are human beings that have value and no one has the right to own another human person. But if I was a plantation owner in the South, I could say, yeah, they have some value, but they don't have full value because I deem it. It's a slippery slope. And that is not, by the way, that is not a religious belief.
The anger, the disrespect, the classlessness, the embarrassment. She doesn't need to be anyone's mother until she grows up and lets her anger go.
What we do. But that doesn't make it the right thing. You refer to a notion that is increasingly popular on the left, which is the idea of the two-spirit among various indigenous tribes. That is not real. That is a contrivance of white liberals in America. There have been various conceptions of sex and gender for all of human history, but the idea of the two-spirited indigenous intuition of some modern transsexual living in New York City who's a man who very much desires to be a woman, that is a complete fiction. You will not find that in literature dating very far back. So what does it say about the question itself? The question, regardless of what the ancient Sumerians believed before they chopped up little kids or whatever, is it true? Can a man really be a woman, and can a woman really become a man? We all know that the answer to that question is false. That's why Professor McCloskey pulled out of our debate at the last moment next week, because even a distinguished professor knows, he has the intelligence to know, even if he is transgender identifying himself, that he can't win that debate because the idea is indefensible. So the question becomes, how does one know that someone with the total physical appearance of a man, how can one know that that person really is a woman? Do you have an answer to that question?
how can to clarify, you're asking how can somebody know if they are a woman?
And how can I know if that person is a woman? If not by the physical attributes, their natural and enduring biological sex. What's the alternative to that?
So my response to you is then a question of, what is the purpose of knowing another person's sexual
there
identity
you are.
but let me finish.
Yeah.
If it's not for the premise of reproduction, and there's no need to rely.
That was an absolute crushing. Michael Knowles for the win.
This is what her dream was, and if he loved her, he would let her pursue her dreams.
That's the thing. If somebody would love me and know, and
I mean, bro, dreams take a back seat when you're dealing with a guy who makes $5 million a year.
I don't really think so. I think like
sounds like he's submitting to you.
But what are the so your dreams? You want to be a plastic surgeon to do what? To
make people beautiful.
Well, hold on. To make I mean, that's what.
I mean, if we want to talk about
up bodies, you want to give BBLs, bro.
You want to just slice into people and give them fucking fake titties and shit. Like, that's your dream. Like,
no, I mean,
to make money, right?
No, so basically, my parents, when I went to college, were like, okay, they always knew that my dream was music. Like, I always wanted to perform and whatever. But he was like, let's be realistic. You can't, and this is probably going to be very like something that's I forget the word.
Controversial.
Controversial, yeah.
Controversial.
Okay. So basically, they're like you to make no money in the U.S. with music as a.
Well, yeah, it's very oversaturated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically,
where are you gonna go? Kosovo? Where are you gonna go?
Thank you, Beyonce.
Where are you from?
Oh yeah.
Like, where's your family history from?
My dad is Brazilian, and he's
Colombia.
My grandma actually used to sing in the radio in Brazil.
Yeah, but I mean, the music scene in Latin America is completely inundated as well.
And then my mom's from Colombia. So
there's the singing, the singing.
Bro, his brain is about to explode.
But okay,
a lot of math
you want
up
to do
there.
plastic surgery. Your husband.
Wait, he hasn't been through a lot of crap. A lot of cookies, maybe, but not crap.
What the fuck is a female consciousness?
When you've identified like that your whole life.
Well, then it's all self-ID. So then, okay, so now we got it. Okay, now I've got it.
Because the gender dysphoria because the gender dysphoria is a part of that self-identification if you have a female brain and a male body.
Okay, but why couldn't you make the claim, then go and get diagnosed? They say, no, you don't have dysphoria.
You could do that if you wanted to, but that doesn't make you trans. Like, that gives you a diagnosis.
You just said it's just
okay,
self-ID.
it gives you a diagnosis, but it doesn't make you trans. What I'm saying is being trans is having a male brain or a female brain in the opposite body of your gender, and you disagree with that, and that's fine.
I'm not actually sure how it's possible that you can have a brain inside of your body that doesn't belong with your body, because it's literally in your body.
I mean, I'm sure. Well, that just gets into like the science of like how an embryo grows in like the womb. Like, there might be something that goes wrong in there, you know? Like, who knows? I don't know.
Okay. So, but we can define, so your definition of a man is anybody who has a male brain.
Yes.
And your definition
male consciousness, sure.
And your definition of anybody who has a male consciousness is anybody who says that they have one.
No, not anybody who says that they do, anybody who feels that they do.
Yeah, okay. So how would you know that they feel that?
I wouldn't know. They would know that.
And how would they tell you that?
I wouldn't know.
How would they tell you that?
This isn't my,
How would they tell you
why
that?
does it matter what I know?
How would they tell you that?
They would use their words?
They would use their words. So,
okay, but why does it matter what I think?
What if I don't identify as a criminal, but the judge does? Does that mean I get to walk out of court because I identify as an innocent human?
It's disgusting, and you should be damn ashamed of yourself, and I don't believe that, and I'm not going to fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies.
I have a personal question for you. Are your beliefs about abortion and life and conception, does that have anything to do with your personal religious beliefs? Your belief that life begins at conception, that is not shared by a lot of people. It's not shared by me. It's not shared by any of my friends. So I'm asking you, why should your moral belief be the end all be all and make the law and take away the right to a clean, safe abortion for women to have. And the fact that you can sit here and say that the rapist baby, the seed, or whatever you want to call it, the baby that's still in your belly and that it's not born yet, that you should be forced to have that, it's disgusting. And the fact that you can come over here and have an entire career based off of this, and I'm not done speaking, and then you can sit here in front of my friend who was a victim of rape and say that she should have that baby, it's disgusting. And you should be damn ashamed of yourself, and I don't believe that, and I'm not gonna fight until people like you do not have a place to come on here on my campus that I paid a school to go to and spew your fucking lies.
Well, I believe in the First Amendment. Do you believe in the First Amendment?
Do you?
Do you believe in the First Amendment? I've allowed you to sit here and scream at me for an hour and a half and
I'm saying I don't believe that you should have the
disgusting
right to
things
take away my access to a clean, safe abortion as a human right. I have the right to have the autonomy over my own body. You have the right to your autonomy over your own body. We both get knocked up, have sex, both of us pregnant. You want to abort it? You don't want to abort it? Your decision. If I want to abort it, I'm going to fucking do that. So who are you to sit here?
No matter what that girl's argument was, she discredited everything she said with all that profanity, disrespect, and immaturity.
That is the argument you just made.
No, it's not. No, it is not. That is your incorrect interpretation. That is a logical fallacy. You think you can sit here and go ring around the rosy with me?
Argument. Are you done with your question? Because you asked me like.
You haven't answered anything. You've actually just made a statement and completely deterred my argument in a completely different way. Oh, do you think that you can own a slave? If I want to own a slave, can I own a slave? How can you sit here with a straight face and say that to me? How is you not embarrassed of yourself?
Do you want me to answer your question? How can you sit here and deny biology?
How can you sit here and deny biology? I'm going to ask you the same question.
Do you want me to answer your questions? If you will sit down, I will answer your questions.
I'm going to stand right here and I want you to tell me how you think it's okay to compare owning a slave to having an abortion. It is not even in the same ballpark.
Yes. Because
Black people were not seen as people in this country.
Yes,
they were
just like what
enslaved.
you've done time and time again tonight to an unborn child. You have argued.
Unborn child, not living. Black people already existed. They were born.
Unborn children are living,
literally
ma'am.
born into slavery.
Would you like me to answer your questions? I can't answer if you keep screaming at me. Do you want me to answer your questions?
I'm waiting.
Are you going to stop
Are
talking?
you going to answer my question?
Yes.
Or are you going to sit here and look stupid? I'm quiet right now. I'm quiet.
This is why we have the First Amendment, so they can
Am I
do
speaking?
this. So, no. When we talk about abortion, we talk about the living human being that's present inside of a mother's womb. Biology confirms this fact. This is not a religious belief that I hold. This is a scientific fact. The law of biogenesis says like begets like. We know the definition of life, and we know what's inside of a mother is living because that child is growing. You can call the child a fetus, a clump of cells, whatever, but the fact is that entity, which is a member of our human species.
To the person who may marry this girl in the future, you have my condolences.
Before I state my question, I just want to honor that we are all standing on the land that belongs to the Ojibwe Anishinaabe people.
Thank you for mentioning that. I meant to mention that at the beginning of my speech, but I'm glad that
Dakota, Northern Cheyenne, and they have been here for time immemorial, and so that leads into my question. So you make the statement that transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely, and so I'm going to ask you a question about that, but prior to that, I want to just state that for 5,000 years BC, Gala transcribed and androgynous trans priests of Sumerian goddesses have been around and noted. 200 to 300 years before Christ in ancient Greece, there were gods worshipped by Gali priests who wore feminine attire and identified as women. Since we are standing on Anishinaabe land, Turtle Island, which is the nation that we live under, has
I don't live under
two-spirited
Turtle
people.
Island.
Right, well, maybe you should read a little more Indigenous knowledge books. Indigenous communities have used two-spirit personas for the entirety of their culture, and so that leads me to my question. When you say that transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely, I ask you, Mr. Knowles, how can we eradicate something that has been here as long as humans have?
Well, yeah, there have been all sorts of crazy, terrible ideas for a very long time, too. You're pointing to civilizations that committed human sacrifice, okay? You're saying that some ancient pagan tribe worshipped demons and therefore we need to castrate children. That's not a good argument. Yes, that's true. There were all sorts of terrible tribes. In fact, as recently as a little over 500 years ago, the Aztecs here in the Western Hemisphere slaughtered 80,000 people in a sacrifice to one of the demons that they worshipped within the span of 4 days. That's not a recommendation of doing that. I don't think that we ought to consider it. Though, unfortunately, in our increasingly pagan and liberal culture, we do commit human.
Native Americans also kept slaves. I wonder if she's advocating that too.
Hello, everybody. We're going to take a picture agreeing with your sign because I think it's white supremacy is evil.
I actually don't want pictures with my sign.
Okay, I do.
The sign. Thank you.
All right. Why? So is it towards us or?
No. That's up for your discretion. So.
Do you think I'm a racist?
Don't say anything.
Can I not take a picture with your sign?
This is my property. Okay.
So I can't stand next to your property? How does one resist hate if you don't have people join you in resisting hate? Only you guys can reject white supremacy. That's right. Thank you. You're a hero. I want to unite to end racism. We agree.
That's nice. We're not going to
Why can't I take a picture? Can't have Charlie ever be seen denouncing racism.
You denounce racism, so do it.
I do denounce racism,
Okay,
yes.
great.
Can I take a picture of your sign?
Okay.
So your sign says unite against racism, right? I'll take your silence as agreement. So in order to unite against racism, wouldn't that mean that I should be able to take a picture with your sign? Aren't you dividing against racism right now? So you're not even actually practicing.
These are the people who rip signs from other people and then say that their sign is their property.
Genuinely don't want to live this strong, independent life anymore.
Today's one of those days that I don't want to be an independent woman. I don't want to clean my car.
You should have thought of that earlier.
I don't want to be an independent woman no more. I don't want to be an independent woman no more. I'm over it. I need my man back.
He's not coming back.
I'm done fighting for women's rights. I don't like it. I don't want to work. So all you feminist, equal rights movement people, shut the fuck up. I'm not doing this shit anymore.
There is no fucking choice.
Whoever started the independent women movement, take it back. Or take me off the list. That whole I don't need a man thing is so confusing because it's like, what do you need then? A bunch of women? Women need men. Men need women. I do not want to be an independent woman. Please do not make me an independent woman. Pack me up.
I don't want to be independent no more. I'm tired.
You're late.
I quit at being independent. I don't want to do this shit no more. This shit is draining. I'm so ready to have a man come into my life and take care of me.
I see so many TikToks talking about how being an independent woman is so much better and it's amazing. You don't have to depend on anyone else, but I'm exhausted.
Tough shit, donut.
I just paid 3 bills just now with my own debit card.
Well done.
Notice how all these women talk about what the man will do for them. They never speak about what they will do or what value they bring to a man.
Question 1 + 1. Yes.
2.
Incorrect. Yes.
Multiculturalism.
Well done, Simon. Next question. What is 3 × 3? Yes?
9.
Wrong. Yes, Penelope.
Gender equality.
Very good, Penelope.
Is this a joke?
You think gender equality is a joke?
No, but isn't this a maths class? Don't be so racist. I just asked a question.
We don't ask questions. Questions are offensive.
Yeah!
Now, students, I trust you've all completed your research assignments. And remember, the person with the highest mark will be flying to New York to present their paper at the World Mathematics Summit. Well done, Penelope. 6 out of 10. You too, Simon. 6 out of 10.
Hey, be careful. You've been staring at her for 10 seconds. What? It's a form of harassment to stare at a woman for more than 15 seconds straight. And when I use the term straight, I don't mean to offend any persons of a non-traditional sexual preference. And when I use the term non-traditional, I don't mean to offend any persons who oppose historically normalized... Okay, I get it.
Unfortunately, Sunshine, your research assignment is only worth a 1 out of 10.
used Fourier transform and mathematical methods in electronics to analyze the electrodiagrams of at-risk patients and calculate their risk of experiencing a heart attack. I mean, it's a new method, but it could potentially save thousands of lives.
7.
You barely even read it.
You used red pen.
What?
Red is considered offensive in many religions.
Why would you belittle everything down to a singular colour? Well, humanity is a...
How do you say that some people don't have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid? They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Like, okay.
Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
Sex is biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So.
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society. It's
Okay. No, it is not in the mind. Okay, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me amend.
Playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are. Let me ask you this. Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are, okay? Because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60? And why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's not the same as gender. You can't just...
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
You can still legally change it. People recognize
You can't legally change your age, by the way.
Obviously, you can change your name, you can change your sex, you can change your identity.
Just because you can do things legally doesn't mean that they are correct biologically. You could do lots of things in the past that were incorrect biologically and correct legally. For a long period of time in the United States, sterilization of the mentally ill took place. That didn't make it okay. Skinner versus Oklahoma. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote the decision.
Right. I still don't understand how...
The woke perspective argues that addressing historical and current injustices is essential for achieving true equality.
Yeah, but a man is anybody who identifies as a man.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. Because you could just self-identify as the sex, and you would be that sex.
Well, I don't think that's right then.
Then you have to qualify it because you say anybody who identifies a man is a man, right?
No, I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people say that too, just to...
Then what makes you a man other than maleness?
That's a whole other can of worms to open. Yeah.
It's not another can of worms. If you say man is this set of criteria, okay, whatever X set of criteria is, then I'll accept that. I just want to know what X criteria is.
Okay.
But if you say a man does not require X criteria, just self-ID, well, now we have a different problem.
I see what you're saying here now. I just think it's, yeah, like you said, it's like kind of hard to like get into because like I understand your point is that like I'm trying to articulate this, but like I see someone who identifies as a man, but I think gender dysphoria is a requirement to be trans, and there's kind of like...
Well, then how are you a man?
I see, that's where I'm kind of like, that's where I like don't really know like how to...
That makes no sense. That literally makes it, it's a contradiction to say if you identify as a man, you are, but you're not trans.
Well, why would you identify as a man if you didn't have gender dysphoria and you have female body parts?
I don't see why you couldn't. Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you identify as being a man even if you had female body parts?
Because why would you?
Yeah, but why you would is irrelevant.
She literally has no idea what she's talking about because she's so afraid of offending someone. How pathetic.
Later on in life,
Here's my issue. My second semester, I'm carrying an A average, and my teacher writes me an email and asks me what my pronouns were. I'm first year Gen X. I don't have a fucking pronoun. Let me tell you what I do have. I have a noun, and it's my name. And that's the only English language I can actually say I have. But I was cool, and I was really kind. Excuse my language, but y'all are adults here, right? Okay, good. So, excuse my language, but you know what? I am pissed off because when I said to her, I'm sorry, I don't claim a pronoun, I got failed. I got failed in 3 of her courses. And my grade point average went from a 4.0 down to a 2.5 because I didn't carry a pronoun. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I have an incredible grade point average. I'm a smart woman. I've been working in the workforce for 40 years, and my generation, if y'all don't understand, invented the internet, for Christ's sakes, and we're not stupid. All right? And yet, you're going to fail me for my pronouns. So my questions are this. As a student, if I don't want to claim this woke ideology, how do I advance and get my degree in something I love and really want to do and would be really good at without being failed unless I fall into their agenda? Tell me how to fix this.
Yeah, so first, thank you for your blunt nature. It's very refreshing. So, yes, there is no easy answer. Number one, there's strength in numbers. Confronting professors or administrators with you plus 10 or 30 other people is the first way to do it. You should not go to appeal by yourself. You should go with the Turning Point chapter and ask for a remedy with many people alongside of you. Number two, though, and I'm just going to be as blunt as possible as you were, I really don't think grades matter that much in the world. I know they matter to you for advancement. My advice to people is that your character and your integrity and standing for what is right matters a lot more than pandering to some sort of an agenda. And I know you agree with that.
Well, the problem is that you lose your funding. Okay, the minute your grades hit below C, you lose all your grants
I hear
and
you.
all your funding that's free. So all these college kids that are getting these Pell Grants
I
get
hear
them
you.
pulled.
No, I'm not diminishing that. So they're holding your career hostage over that money. I still, that's why I think college is a scam. I still think you should not comply to their tyrannical woke orthodoxy. You should fight for it. You should fight on it. But to be perfectly honest, I think that it destroys your soul every time that you comply with.
The professor discriminated against her, and that grounds a lawsuit.
Funding university-educated individuals with a simple question, what is a woman?
I'm a feminist, and I don't hate
Okay, so
men.
you are a self-described feminist. What is a woman?
Why do you want to know?
I'm infinitely curious.
What's a man?
You're looking at one. Tell me what a woman is, since you're a feminist.
You're saying these things because you're trying to get a gotcha.
You're
okay,
a feminist. Shouldn't you be able to tell me what a woman is?
I'm a feminist.
Isn't that probably
because...
important to feminism? What is the woman that you're trying to advance and protect? Isn't that integral to? Is that the whole feminist project? The war
Asking
against
what a woman is the only way that you can get a gotcha over everybody else. Why is it so important to you to define things in certain categories? How does that help your day-to-day life? Like
what other categories in the human species are there besides male and female?
Well, I just think that categorization is usually unhelpful when we're trying to improve society, right?
I have XY chromosomes.
Okay.
Can I give birth?
No, you can't.
Bingo. That's why categorization matters.
The unhinged left sinks even lower. Joshua Topolsky, co-founder of the tech website The Verge, has sparked an uproar after a vile attack against conservative commentator and writer Ben Shapiro, tweeting, quote, "Ben Shapiro is the Jew who helps other Jews onto the train." Now, Topolsky has now deleted the tweet, but not because it's disgusting to compare Shapiro, who is Jewish, to a Nazi collaborator, for other reasons. And in a follow-up, he tweeted, quote, "I deleted it because a mob on the right of the right-wing babies who were flooding my mentions, and it was frankly pretty annoying, as were the DM death threats." Joining us now to respond is the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro. Ben, we're always talking to when the left is unhinged, and you have a special way of unhinging them. But this was really, I mean, I keep saying a new low, but this really is a new low. I've never heard of this person before, but I guess he's kind of big in the tech world. Where are we here?
I mean, I've been called worse by better, so, you know, that's just the way things go, I guess, these days. Yeah, I guess that he works, or said that he worked over at Vox, and then it turns out that he was not, in fact, a co-founder of Vox. If he was from Vox, then Vox is not sending its best. That's all I can really say about it.
But we have an individual who works for this tech website saying that someone who is an observant Jew is helping put other Jews on the train, meaning, I guess, the Trump train, can't, ever look past that. But he's obviously, I think he's Jewish as well. But coming from him, who I believe is Jewish, does that have any special significance to you? Is it kind of a self-loathing deal? What is it?
I mean, not particularly. I mean, I assume he's calling me a Nazi, but he wouldn't be the only one. The way that the left works these days is that anyone who disagrees with them is a Nazi. So it really isn't a giant surprise. I always find it ironic when the left attacks me as an alt-right Nazi, considering I was literally the #1 recipient of alt-right hatred in 2016, according to the Anti-Defamation League, which is not a right-wing source.
Right. And Ben, there are others on the left who have gone from their never Trump mania to just, completely out of touch with the reality of politics today.
Shapiro acknowledges the reality of historical trauma, but emphasizes the need for personal responsibility.
If you could, what would you change about the Constitution? I'm going to say putting in a more defined separation between church and state, putting in more explicit child rights, because the U.S. is the only country that did not certify the UN Bill of Child Rights, which is icky. And then also we should be able to change the Constitution, because it wasn't meant to be like the oldest document. It's supposed to be like a living, breathing Constitution. So I would also change more of like the verbiage around like trans people. Change stuff to, instead of being like he for everything, change it to they.
We didn't ratify the UN Declaration of Children's Rights because ratification would undermine U.S. sovereignty by giving the United Nations authority to determine the best interests of U.S. children.
Hi Ben, thank you for coming. I just wanted to ask, what is your view on the fact that bans on abortion do lead to about a 21% increase in pregnancy-related deaths, when you hold that your views on abortion and abortion bans are based in the fact that you have a desire to protect life and save lives because every human being is made in God's image?
Because I think we're going to have a fundamental disconnect here. The entire abortion debate is centered on whether indeed an unborn child or a human life with potential is in fact that, or if it is just a ball of cells. If you believe that there is inherent value to a fetus, then I am seeking to preserve that life as well as the life of the mother. If you look at the raw numbers in terms of, for example, in the United States, 1 million abortions a year, let's assume that laws banning abortion in the United States were universal, those 1 million abortions go away tomorrow. That's an effective law, the abortions go away, but there's also a concomitant increase in the number of women who are seeking back alley abortions, for example. There's a concomitant increase in the number of women who are dying in pregnancy-related childbirth. That would not be 1 million. That would be a lot lower than 1 million, because 1 million women out of 1 million women, that would suggest that 1 million abortions would, if brought to term, 1 million of those women would die. That's obviously not true. So for me, an abortion prevented is a life saved. And you have to weigh that against what you're talking about, which is the life of the mother when it comes to a pregnancy. Now, even as a fan of pro-life position, and I'm a deeply pro-life person, I still have an exception for the life of the mother. So if the life of the mother is endangered by a pregnancy, then abortion would be legal. That's true for every pro-lifer in the United States, by the way, including the most pro-life people, including me. So, I think that in order to make the argument that you're making, you would have to assume that there is no cost to abortion remaining legal in terms of lives lost.
Okay, so you're doing it on a utilitarian basis.
I'm doing it on a lives saved basis, yes.
Well, yeah, so
sure,
a utilitarian basis,
sure.
right. So then if you look at comprehensive sex education, which the US does not have, a lot of people in rural areas don't have any form of sex education. You yourself have said, and I quote, On a general level, I don't think that teachers should be talking about sex in the classroom with kids at all at any age. It's shown that comprehensive and correct sex education reduces rates of abortion and teen pregnancy. So then, if your goal is to save lives, why do you not support comprehensive sex education? Because it seems like your goal is something else.
No, because these first of all, I would like to see the studies that you're citing in support of that
So
particular
that study
idea.
is the University of Washington.
Okay,
study.
and there are plenty of other studies in the United States that suggest essentially no difference in, for example, unwed pregnancy in the United States.
Can I have those studies?
What can you have them? You can look at the pregnancy rates in California, New York, Massachusetts.
I just gave you my reference.
I mean, I'm happy to email you references if you so choose. But to say, I mean, this does happen to be a topic where there is social science on both sides. I'm not saying that the study that you're citing is invalid. I'm just suggesting that there is a difference in data methods, and I'm suggesting that the single motherhood rates in the West with comprehensive sex education are miles higher than they were in, say, the 1950s when there was not comprehensive sex education. So obviously that has not militated against the amount of unwed pregnancy happening in society. So the idea that the cure-all here is comprehensive sex ed, if you could prove to me, let's put it this way, if you could prove to me that comprehensive sex ed did result in lower levels of abortion, lower levels of unwed pregnancy, and that it was values neutral.
They argue that this trauma affects both individuals and entire communities, reinforcing systemic inequalities that continue today.
Hello, my name is Quentin Merritt. I'm a mathematician and a physicist here, a double major, and I also just won the most prestigious award in the country to pursue research at any institution I want, the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship. So I think I'm pretty, qualified to say that most of what you're saying is based on old data. But my question to you, and so I want you all to realize that.
Last month, but sure.
For example, gender identity disorder, that's the DSM-4, bro. We use the DSM-5 now for psychologists to be able to talk about...
I literally cited the DSM-5 in the speech, and it's called gender dysphoria, which is the term that I use throughout the speech, not gender identity disorder.
You sound like a bozo, bro. And you get no pussy, and you can't even make your wife wet, bro, so what's good?
So, let me just say, the nice thing about having several small children is I don't feel the necessity to have my masculinity
challenged. If we're using a Western
like
colonial idea of gender, then why should it apply? If we're using, because the gender binary is a Western colonialist framework of gender.
You're right. Men and women don't exist in any other culture.
No. Think about Native American.
Nailed it.
Third gender people. I'm not saying that. Third gender people exist in Native American societies, Western African societies, like Southern Native American societies, like Mexico. So in other places that are not white dominated,
and
like the United States or
incorrect.
Europe, and so you're saying
white,
so non-white people. I'm a mathematician and a physicist. You cannot tell me.
So I have a question.
And also, you're not a biologist.
So I have a question.
I'm 20.
As a mathematician and a physicist, what in the hell do you know about human biology?
And you got your law degree from Harvard. What do you know about biology? You got your law degree from Harvard.
And frankly, I would ask another question. If your logic is so flawed as a mathematician and a physicist, I would suggest that whichever institution gave you an award, revoke it immediately.
He believes that personal responsibility is key to overcoming these challenges.
Are you?
No.
No, you're
You have
not.
to
So then what is the criteria for man?
Having a male brain.
The fuck does that mean? Doesn't a male brain go in a male body?
No, I mean
Do you have how would you know
Okay.
that somebody had a male brain except the body around it was male?
You don't see that. Your consciousness knows. Having a male consciousness. Do you think you have a male consciousness?
I don't know what that means.
Okay, so what do you think being a man is?
I think that
having a penis?
I think that being a man essentially has multiple criteria that we can list. We could list chromosomes. We could list all of this, right? But really the simple way is you only have 2 reproductive pathways which the body can go down to.
But didn't you say
hang
that...
on. You just asked me
to
define it, and I'm trying to. Okay? There's only 2 phenotypical pathways you can go down. Okay, 2. That's it. Female, male. There's no third sex, no intermediate sex. There never has been. Not even in people who have hermaphrodite, right? Things like that. Absolutely only have one sex pathway. So only one of those reproductive organs can work. People can't impregnate themselves. no matter what their physiology is. It's impossible. So only one reproductive way can actually work.
Okay, I think that we're never going to reach a conclusion here because...
No, I think we can very quickly.
No, because
I just need your definition of man.
Okay, I gave it to you, and
What
you
is
don't
it?
agree that there are male and female brains. So we're never going to reach a conclusion. I think that there is a
I
difference
think that there's
between...
male and female brains.
She is a great example of someone who was taught what to think, not how to think. She is incapable of independent thought and afraid to speak for herself for fear of offending and being cast out of the group. If you loved seeing these moments when men stood their ground, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Which reaction was your favorite? More bold responses and debates are on the way, so stay tuned. And we'll catch you in the next video.